The Tenchu series is one of my all-time favorite video game series ever made. It's definitely my favorite stealth games of all time. Tenchu Wrath of Heaven, to this day, is not only my favorite entry of the series, but also one of the best PlayStation 2 games that I have ever played. Out of all the existing ninja games out there, the Tenchu series really captures the essence of a stealth assassin. On the last Tenchu video, we talked in depth about the third entry of the series, Tenchu Wrath of Heaven. The game received quite the financial success as it sold around 1.14 million copies worldwide, according to VGCharts.com. It was also Activision's #1 best-selling video game for the PlayStation 2 back in May of 2003. With the success of Tenchu Wrath of Heaven, the developer studio, K2, wanted to follow up the series with a new entry. Enter Tenchu Fatal Shadows, the second Tenchu game for the Sony PlayStation 2, released in 22nd of July 2004 in Japan and 17th of February 2005 worldwide. The game was built on improving what they have in Tenchu Wrath of Heaven. However, was Tenchu Fatal Shadows a better game than its predecessor? This video will discuss everything you need to know about Tenchu Fatal Shadows, from the development history to the gameplay aspect. This year marks the 20th anniversary of the worldwide release of the game. So let's take a 20-year retrospective of Tenchu Fatal Shadows. Somewhere around early of 2004, Japanese video game company FromSoftware bought the rights to the Tenchu IP from Activision. If you remember in our last video, Activision wasn't the original owners of the Tenchu IP. Activision actually bought the IP from Sony Music Entertainment Japan back in the year 2000. I'm still not sure why Activision decided to sell the IP to FromSoftware. However, there are speculations that Activision didn't see much of a financial investment on the Tenchu series. Once again, this is just an online speculation. According to an article from GameIndustry.biz by Rob Fahey, FromSoftware's acquisition of Tenchu covers trademark and copyright ownership, but excludes previous titles prior to Tenchu Wrath of Heaven. Despite the Tenchu IP being owned by a new company, the development of a new Tenchu game was on the hands of the same developer studio, K2. One of the founders of the company, Kodama Mitsuo, once again returned as the game's lead director. Now, I'm not sure when the development of the game began, but if the game was first released on 22nd of July 2004, it is possible that they started before FromSoftware bought the Tenchu IP from Activision. They might have started right after the release of Tenchu Wrath of Heaven for all I know, considering this entry came out rather close to the previous one. For the music, legendary Japanese composer Asakura Noriyuki returned for the 4th time in the series. To refresh a bit of your memory, Asakura Noriyuki is famous on composing the soundtracks for the original Rurouni Kenshin anime. In this game, he composed the opening song called Kurenai no Hana, or Bloom of Crimson in English. Acting as co-composer for this game was Suenaga Koichi. Suenaga has worked on the music for several FromSoftware games such as Armored Core Nexus and Yoshitsune Eiyuden. Since the previous game was published by an American company, therefore Tenchu Wrath of Heaven was released first on the United States. For this game, however, it was first released in Japan on 22nd of July 2004 as Tenchu Kurenai, considering the publisher is a Japanese company. For the international release, FromSoftware signed a deal with Sega Europe and Sega America to publish the new Tenchu game. Therefore, the game was finally released internationally on 17th of February 2005 as Tenchu Fatal Shadows. That sums up the development history of Tenchu Fatal Shadows. Now, let's discuss the core aspects of the game itself, starting with the plot. The game's story takes place in between Tenchu Stealth Assassins and Tenchu Wrath of Heaven. At the end of the first game, Rikimaru disappeared after defeating Lord Mayo. This game takes place sometime before Rikimaru's return in the third game. This also means that Rikimaru is absent from the game, making this the only entry in the series without Rikimaru. A bit of an off-topic here, I didn't like the premise at first of omitting Rikimaru from Tenchu Fatal Shadows. Rikimaru is the face of the Tenchu series and he is my favorite ninja in all of video games. So not having him in the game was a bit of a turnoff for me. Ayame, on the other hand, returns as one of the two protagonists of the game. Somewhere after the events of the first game, Ayame was sent on a mission to investigate a ninja village called Hagakure. The village was in total ruin with almost no survivors. She found a dying elderly man who whispered to her the name Kuroya before passing away. As she was about to leave the village, Ayame was attacked by a female ninja who is the other protagonist of the game, Rin. Rin is the last surviving member of the Hagakure and she mistook Ayame for being the culprit behind the village destruction. Later in the story, she figured out that it wasn't Ayame who destroyed her village, rather a group of rogue ninjas called Kuroya. The leader of the Kuroya is a one-eyed man with a blade hidden in an umbrella named Jyuzou. Rin vowed to avenge her fallen clan by eliminating Jyuzou and every member of the Kuroya. The Kuroya consist of some of the deadliest and craziest assassins. You got Futaba, a female assassin with poisonous handbow. You got Shinogi, a crazed killer who wields 3 swords, pretty similar to that of Roronoa Zoro from One Piece. You got Ranzo, another crazed killer who wields a dual-edged katana and has a kink towards torturing women. And finally, you got Sho, the flamboyant assassin with a machine gun implanted shamisen. While Rin was on the road for revenge, Ayame was also tasked to eliminate the Kuroya by her clan, the Azuma. One was driven by vengeance and the other was driven by duty. Both Rin and Ayame would work together to bring an end to the Kuroya. This story somewhat reminds me of the movie Kill Bill, where you have a female fighter pursuing revenge on a group of assassins after the death of her loved ones. Instead of Kill Bill, it's Kill Jyuzou. What's interesting as well is that later in the game, you found out that Jyuzou was Rin's former fiancée, very similar to that of Bill and Beatrix's relationship from Kill Bill. Perhaps K2 had Kill Bill in mind when developing the game. Or maybe K2 had an even older movie as inspiration, which is Lady Snowblood, a Japanese story of a female assassin named Yuki on a quest to avenge her dead family. The resemblance is somewhat there. Not to mention, Jyuzou, the main villain of Tenchu Fatal Shadows, has a very similar weapon to Yuki from Lady Snowblood. Speaking of movies, the game has more cinematic approach to the presentation. In Tenchu Wrath of Heaven, you are greeted with a title crawl and a narration whenever you start a chapter.
時は戦国。ゴーダの国は束の間の平和な時を過ごしていた。しかしその裏で悪の目は確実に芽生えようとしていた。ゴーダの国家老ナスは越後屋の二代目徳兵衛と結託し。
In Tenchu Fatal Shadows, however, the pre-title narration was done more like an old 70s Japanese movie, another possible homage to movies like Lady Snowblood.
少女には見上げることしかできん。ただじっと黒く染まる空を望むことしかできん。すすを流すは開墾の涙。心に宿す誓いは復讐。それもすべては別れの後で、今はただ友のもとへと駆け寄るばかり。
Unlike in previous entries, this game does not have different campaigns for different characters. You have one story for both Ayame and Rin, with a total chapter of 12. You play as Ayame and Rin back to back for every chapter. This game also has branching path storyline, where the outcome of some chapters can differ based on how you play through them, though these outcomes don't really differ that much on the grand scheme of things, especially after you beat the entire game. It is, however, still a nice touch from K2. Compared to previous entries, Tenchu Fatal Shadows takes a more grounded approach in its story. Unlike in Tenchu Wrath of Heaven, this game doesn't have wizards, demons, zombies, and all the other mystical elements like that. It's just two female assassins fighting a group of criminal assassins. The gameplay is not much different than the previous entry, Tenchu Wrath of Heaven. The controls of Tenchu Wrath of Heaven is already perfect for a stealth game like this. K2 completely carried the controls from that game to this game. There are some additional features that K2 added that was missing in the previous entry. For start, carrying dead bodies is finally back. I don't know why K2 omitted this ability in Tenchu Wrath of Heaven, since it is an ability that you can do in Tenchu Birth of the Stealth Assassins. Regardless, it's finally back. Though this ability was actually brought back in the Xbox version of the third game, Tenchu Return from Darkness. To carry a dead body, you press the crouch button, R1, and circle button together. Hold both the R1 and circle buttons to keep carrying the body, and release them to release the body. Hiding dead bodies is a good trick to prevent alerting other guards. Another feature that K2 added for Tenchu Fatal Shadows is the ability to perform double stealth kills. To perform this, you need to press the square button on the right time as you are positioned in between two enemies. This is easily my favorite mechanic introduced in this game. Not only is it a good mechanic to take out two enemies at once, the double kills look stylish as well. Just like in previous game, you can unlock more abilities by performing more stealth kills. In Tenchu Wrath of Heaven, whenever you perform a stealth kill, you fill up the Kujikiri, which is the ninja art to invoke supernatural powers. When the Kujikiri is filled, you unlock an ability for your character. You can fill up the Kujikiri in every stage, thus every stage allows you to unlock one ability. In Tenchu Fatal Shadows, however, instead of filling up the Kujikiri, you unlock new abilities by collecting scrolls. Each time you perform a stealth kill, the enemy drops scrolls. Enemies will drop more scrolls if you can time your kills perfectly. Collecting a specific number of scrolls results in unlocking new abilities for Ayame and Rin. This means you don't necessarily unlock an ability per stage. Sometimes, it takes 2 or 3 stages to unlock one ability, depending how well you perform stealth kills. Despite unlocking abilities is a little bit more difficult in this game than the previous one, it has more special abilities per character. In Tenchu Wrath of Heaven, you have 9 unlockable special abilities for each Rikimaru and Ayame. Meanwhile, in Tenchu Fatal Shadows, you have 13 unlockable special abilities, each for Ayame and Rin. Speaking of difficulty, this game is no joke. Enemies are more aggressive here than in Tenchu Wrath of Heaven, for both the right and wrong reasons. For a start, enemies can stealth kill you. This can happen if enemies spot you from behind. Enemies can also kill you instantly if you botch a double kill, since it requires to be in between two enemies. This means you need to be extra careful with your surroundings at all time. Enemies are also positioned very close to each other. Most of stages in this game consist of narrow paths where enemies are stationed near to each other. This means that they can easily spot you, killing one of them if you are not careful. This is even more difficult in chapters 8 and 9, where stages are really small, yet guards are stationed in almost every part of them. Even one of the guides of those chapters says, "Do not linger on a single enemy." This does make more of a challenging experience though. Enemies are a lot more careful in this game, as they can be alerted easier. If you alert one enemy, then you alert everyone on the entire map. Granted, this does encourage you to be more cautious, but this doesn't even make any sense. Not only that they are extra careful, some enemies even have supervision and super hearing. I'll give you some examples. As you can see here, the guard over there does not see me standing all the way up here. However, a different type of guard can see me all the way here despite being in the same range as the previous one. In terms of super hearing, I'm running on water all the way down here, yet somehow the guard up there can hear my footsteps. Some enemies can even run towards your position if they suspect you. Once again, this game is quite brutal when it comes to AI. You are forced to be insanely careful if you want to play it really well. It's hard to be stealthy in this game, but it's still possible. I do have mixed feelings about the AI level of enemies. On one hand, I do feel like the game is more challenging and completing a stage without getting spotted feels very rewarding. On the other hand, I feel like the game feels unpolished with the AI and enemy positioning. I mean, look at this guard right here. He's spinning in circles. How am I supposed to kill this guy without getting spotted? Trust me, The AI being aggressive yet dumb is a common theme in Tenchu Fatal Shadows. I somewhat believe that this is due to the fact the game was developed as soon as Tenchu Wrath of Heaven was released. The game came out in about a year after the previous release for the Japanese market. This means that K2 had a very short time in development for Tenchu Fatal Shadows, thus some aspects seem unpolished. Despite the shortcomings, I still believe K2 did an excellent job for the game. This is still a very solid stealth game for the Tenchu series, mainly due to the fluid controls. Whilst the AI can be dumb and aggressive, you can still beat the game with perfect stealth. There are a number of additional contents that you can unlock in this game. For a start, you can unlock alternate costumes for both Rin and Ayame. Just like with the special abilities, you unlock these costumes by collecting scrolls from stealth kills. You can challenge yourself in an extra mode called Red Blade. The Red Blade mode is basically a time attack mode where you have to defeat as many enemies as possible before the timer runs out. You can select the type of enemies you want to fight, as the higher the level, the tougher the enemies as well. There's also a boss battle mode, where you can select a boss that you have fought in the story mode. It's a pretty standard mode if you ask me. One mode that unfortunately was cut from the previous entry is multiplayer mode. This game does not allow you to play 2 players with a friend, unlike in Tenchu Wrath of Heaven. This was my other turn off from the game since I can't play either versus or co-op anymore. Though these games are mainly played on single player, adding a multiplayer mode could have enhanced the replay value. Regardless, Tenchu Fatal Shadows at least give enough extra content to keep you busy. Tenchu Fatal Shadows, in my opinion, is an underrated entry among the Tenchu series. While it lacks the refinement of its previous entry, Tenchu Wrath of Heaven, this game is still a solid stealth action. The game maintains the excellent controls of the previous entry, whilst adding new mechanics such as double stealth kills. The game could have been better if K2 was given more time to develop it. According to VGCharts.com, Tenchu Fatal Shadows sold only around 190,000 copies worldwide. This is a massive downgrade from the previous entry. I do believe that the game not only could have needed more time to develop, but it could have been advertised even more. It's a shame honestly, because for what it is, this game is still really good. Despite all of this, Tenchu Fatal Shadows might be my second favorite entry of the series. Tenchu Wrath of Heaven is still going to be the magnum opus of the series, but I think people should not sleep on Tenchu Fatal Shadows. I still prefer this game over the PS1 Tenchu games, mainly because of the controls. I highly recommend the game for people who love a good ninja stealth action, especially those who is up for the challenge. So that's it for your 20-year retrospective of Tenchu Fatal Shadows. What are your thoughts on the game? Do you like this game? Do you think this is a solid entry of the Tenchu series? Let me know in the comment section below. With that being said, this is me, Profar. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you dislike this video, give me a thumbs down. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, join the Profar Mokoe Hunter X Discord server. I'll see you guys in the next video.